Okay, thank you, Itana. This meeting will now commence at 6:05 p.m. The first order of business is roll call. May we please commence roll call?
Absolutely. Student trustee Bravo.
Present.
Thank you. President Kumar.
Present.
Thank you. Vice President Ahmed.
Present.
Thank you. Treasurer Nida Manuri.
Present.
Thank you. Chief of Staff Oman.
Present.
Thank you. Chairwoman Hamad.
Present.
Thank you so much. Chairwoman El Adawi.
Present.
Thank you so much. Chairwoman Nadala.
Present.
Thank you so much. Chairwoman Udaitek.
Present.
Thank you so much. Chairwoman Cho.
Present.
Thank you so much. Speaker of the House Stancheva.
Present.
Thank you so much. And for representatives and members of the House, Representative Petineo.
Here.
Please correct me if I'm saying your last name wrong, okay? Representative Oyefeso.
Present.
Thank you so much. Representative Aranda Ortiz.
Present.
Thank you so much. Representative Taylor. Representative Kayla Taylor.
Present.
Thank you so much. Representative Abdel Salam.
Present.
Thank you so much. Representative Selvara.
Present, and it's Selvaraj.
Selvaraj. Thank you so much. Representative Almendras.
Present. Present.
Okay. Did I pronounce your name correctly? Your last name?
Yes, you did.
Okay, perfect. Representative Bai.
Present. It's B.
B. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
For sure. Representative Fernandez.
Here.
Thank you so much. Representative Villa Gomez.
Here.
Thank you so much. Representative Hack.
Here.
Thank you so much. Representative Nguyen.
It's Nguyen, and I'm here.
Thank you so much. Representative Henry.
Here.
Thank you so much. Representative Chris Mann.
Present.
Thank you so much. Representative Suresh. Oh, I'm so sorry. The representative actually has excused absence. Representative Bilba Sigamani. Representative Sampriti Bilba Sigamani. Okay, Representative Khan.
Present.
Thank you so much. Representative Malik.
Present.
Thank you so much. Representative Obide.
Present.
Thank you so much. That's all of the members.
All right, thank you. The next order of business is reading and approval of the minutes. So please take this time to open the meeting 3 packet and look over the minutes for last meeting. And let me know if there's anything that needs to be changed. Are there any corrections to the minutes? If not, the minutes will stand as approved. The next order of business is reading and approval of the agenda. Please take this time to look over the agenda, which is on the first page of meeting 3 packet, and let me know if something needs to be changed. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay, so I would like to motion to remove resolution 2020-F3-901 from new business. So for all the new members, you guys can vote on this, and you can say, if you agree to remove it, you can say aye. If you disagree, you can say nay. And if you don't want to vote, you can abstain. So all those in favor of removing resolution 2020-F3-901, please say aye. All that opposed, please say nay. You guys have to vote. All the new members, you guys have to vote. You're voting members now. So
Just a point of inquiry, Speaker Santiago, could you just kind of go over why we're striking this from the agenda today?
yes, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. So the reason why is because we actually did a resolution that was very similar to this over the summer, and I didn't realize that that was happening. So I made this new resolution that basically states the same thing. So that's why we want to remove it, because we already have it, and we technically don't need it. So yeah. So all those in favor of removing resolution 2020-F3-901, please say aye.
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 All that opposed, oh, thank you. All that opposed, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? All right, thank you. So this has been removed from the agenda. Are there any other corrections to the agenda? Okay, if not, the agenda will stand as approved. The next order of business is new member welcome. So we have a few things that we need to do here. And first of all is the oath of office. So all of you who were voted in, you will be taking the USG oath. So please turn on your camera and microphone if possible. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
Solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that
that I will support and
defend
the students of the University of Illinois at Chicago,
the students of
students
the
of the University of Illinois at Chicago,
that I will serve students
that I will serve
students
serve to them
faithfully and truthfully,
faithfully and truthfully,
that I will uphold, protect, and preserve
that I will uphold, protect, and preserve
the Constitution and standing rules
the Constitution and standing rules
rules
of the undergraduate student government.
of the undergraduate
student
government.
Awesome. Congratulations. You are now officially representatives. Woo! Good job, y'all. So now let me give you a brief overview of your powers as representatives. We will go more in depth during the new member orientation, but for now, just for this meeting, so you guys have some sort of knowledge on how to proceed. Just how we did for the agenda, you have the powers to vote on resolutions, and you can say whether or not you agree with the resolution. You can vote yes for it. In that case, you would say aye. If you disagree with the resolution and you don't want it to pass, you can say nay. Or if you don't want to vote, you can abstain. And in that case, you just abstain. So it would go like this. I would say, all those in favor of resolution, whatever the name is, please say aye, and you will say aye if you want it to pass. I will say, all that oppose, please say nay, and if you don't want it to pass, you would say nay. And then I would also say, and who would like to abstain, and then you would let me know if you would like to abstain. So that's how voting works for resolutions. And yeah, does anyone have any questions on this? Okay, it doesn't seem like it. So yeah, that's the brief overview for today. And as I mentioned, we will go more in depth later, but This is just a brief overview. So yeah. So the next order of business is public comment. Is there any public comment? No? Okay, it doesn't seem like it. Alrighty, so if there is no public comment, we can move on to the next order of business, which is guest speakers. So we have guest speaker Martin Tully. Is Martin here? Okay, it seems like Martin is not here. So in that case, we can move on to the next order of business, which is ex officio reports. First, we have the report of the advisor.
Good evening, everyone. So Keith is experiencing some Outlook issues going on right now, so he may or may not join us. Microsoft is having a problem right now. But other than that, nothing else to report.
All right, thank you. With that, the report of the advisor will be filed. Next, we have the report of the student trustee.
Hi everyone, I'm Jocelyn, and this year's student trustee. Congratulations to all the new members. Welcome to USG. I was part of USG for my first 4 years of college. Yes, I'm a fifth year senior. So it's great to have you guys be a part of USG. So yeah, as student trustee, I'm one of the student members of the board of trustees. So I represent our campus UIC, and there's another student trustee from Urbana and Springfield. And basically, like, we get to vote on and listen to decisions made at a University of Illinois system level. And some of the things that I've been working on consist of, first and foremost, the Public Safety Board that Watson is actually also part of. So we had our first meeting on Thursday, and we talked about the goal and the purpose of the group. So the purpose of the group is really to think about how members of the community interact with the police. And it's kind of like a civilian accountability program. There's going to be a few committees, a few subcommittees. We're going to be discussing the use of force, communications, public engagement, and also governance and oversight, from my understanding. We started off by just going briefly over the UIC Police Department and also our goals for the board. And something else, I mentioned in my report last week that I was going to be a student panelist for the University Senate Conference's annual retreat on this tomorrow and Wednesday. I'm going to be speaking on Wednesday, and I contacted a few student leaders that had experience in student issues like systematic racism on campus and so on, and they just reaffirmed the importance of supporting the demands listed in the UIC student demands letter sent to the UIC and U of I administration. So I'm just going to be reiterating those points. I also mentioned last week that well, I actually didn't mention this last week. This is kind of like an internal thing, but I'm going to be getting assistant chief of staff. So like, I've been working with the dean of students office for job postings. So if any of you guys are interested in like running for student trustee in the future or next year, like, and you want to get a bit of more of an insight, I'll definitely be either telling you guys at another meeting or telling Daisy/Daniela about the job opening. And that's pretty much it for right now. Let me check my notes. Yeah. I yield for questions.
Are there any questions for the student trustee?
Wait, I have a quick question. I don't know how to raise my hand yet on this, but how much can we publicize the job thing you're talking about?
Please don't publicize it at all.
Okay.
I mean, once it's out, I guess you could like share it with friends. But I thought like you meant at a USG level.
Yeah.
Please don't.
Okay.
Or let me get back to you. Like, I don't know how. it's going to be like an actual job. Like you'll be an employee and you're going to get paid. But I don't know the details yet because we're still going over like job description and pay.
Okay.
The pay is included in my budget. So right now, please don't publicize anything. But once
Right
things,
now, no. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, once things are finalized.
once things are finalized, I'll let you guys know. By you guys, I mean Daisy and Daniela, and then they'll follow up with you guys on that. But yeah, it's a paid position, and once everything is finalized, you guys will be the first to know. And you'll basically just be working with me, like attending meetings, like working on projects and stuff. But yeah, it'll be
Okay,
open
another
to.
quick question.
Mhm.
Sorry. The what's it called? The demand letter that you're gonna be like emphasizing at your upcoming meeting. Which one was it? Was it the one with like student union?
Yes, it's the one that was sent on June 8th. So it was like Black Student Union, Black Graduate Student Union, GEO, like a bunch of organizations supported that one. Yeah.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
And Alexis from the Black Graduate Student Association and Dawn from GEO were the ones that just asked me to emphasize those points. Any other questions? Well, thank you guys for your time. Congratulations again. I look forward to working with you guys.
Thank you, Jocelyn. With that, the report of the student trustee has been filed. The next order of business is officer reports. May we please have the report of the president?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And again, it's super great to see everyone. I'm excited to see everyone on Wednesday as well. Just a reminder that we're going to have orientation then. Hopefully it'll be an opportunity for us to really kind of flush out all the details about USG and also just kind of introduce ourselves a little bit better. But yeah, over the past like week and a half-ish, like I've been working on like all these issues in the report, like specifically like looking at like racial justice and policing at UIC. Like Jocelyn mentioned, like we're now part of this police safety board. We had our first kickoff meeting on Thursday. We're really like looking to make some solid change, especially like in like some of the areas of like use of force, as well as like governance structures, like looking at kind of evolving what we've got right now into a future sort of civilian accountability commission that lasts for like the rest of like UIC, like lasts for like decades to come. As well as like important issues of like communication and how, you know, like suspect descriptions should be changed to like not be so like blatantly stereotypical. And so we've been doing a lot of that sort of work, but beyond that, like I've also been like attending like the GEO and BGSA organizing meetings, and like we've joined their Good Trouble Coalition, which is like focused on like combating systemic racism at UIC. And those meetings are open to anybody. So if anyone is interested in joining, please do let me know. Same thing with the Abolition at UIC organizing meetings. Like those are also open to all, and I've been attending those as well to like get like a very kind of comprehensive understanding. We had like a tour of the UIC Police Department a couple weeks ago to sort of understand exactly how operations work at UIC, specifically the various sorts of departments and the functions and the funding and how all of those like different streams put together. We have also been planning something that I'm very, very excited about. Just got off of a couple calls with regards to this, but we're having a campus conversation on public safety, which is going to happen on October 6th from 6 to 7:30. So that's going to be next Tuesday. And it's an organization, it's like a collaboration between like USG, the BGSA, BSU, Abolition at UIC, the UIC Faculty Union, the UIC GEO. So basically all of like the big names at UIC coming together, and we have support like from like the Chancellor's office and everyone to sort of like mass mail this event out to the whole campus community. And we've got several panelists prepared who are essentially going to be talking about like policing at UIC, like talking about like alternatives to policing as well. That's like kind of the crux of the focus of this event. And of course, to open up for as much sort of discussion, as much conversation and dialogue and Q&A as possible. So those are kind of like the big focuses. We've also, importantly, we've also invited like all the administrative people like here at UIC, like the chancellor and vice chancellors and everyone to sort of come and hear what this is about and kind of like use that for like future decision making. So that's like something that I'm looking forward to next Tuesday. Then kind of scrolling through the rest of my report here. Another thing, and Marion will also like talk further about this, but we are partnering with the provost office on a faculty mixer where essentially we're going to have a handful of student panelists who will like share briefly for maybe like 5 minutes, like their experiences with online learning, talking about like some of the good, some of the bad. And really it's like important to be able to sort of improve UIC classes as we move through this sort of online learning phase of our careers and as we look to plan for the next semester as well. So we had this over the summer, and I was one of the panelists, and I spoke like for maybe like 5 minutes or so, and then faculty members asked a bunch of questions, and there were like 400 faculty there, so it's definitely a huge opportunity. This is going to be on October 20th, so we have roughly 3-ish weeks. Please do sign up if you're interested. Marian is like doing like a lot of like recruiting around this. She has like Google Form and stuff like that. So yeah, so I think it's a super cool opportunity though. We're also like interviewing candidates for the Dean of Libraries, which is kind of fun, I guess. And then so in our previous session, we had voted in solidarity with the SEIU INA strike. I sent a resolution to the Chancellor's office and it was received by them. Also like Taylor and Dahlia and I all met together to talk about like putting together a letter for USG and the Student Advocacy Coalition and Roosevelt and State Rep Lakecia Collins to send this out again, like in solidarity with this worker strike, and we were able to finish that last week. We had like the College Students Meeting Congress program like kickoff where we kind of like lobby with like federal officials, and that was super successful. So like thank you everybody who was a part of that. Dahlia and I like met with like some UIC census people to talk about like census programming on like their like last ditch efforts. If you haven't filled that out yet, it's like still open until the 31st of October. So please do fill out your census. And then we've also been partnering very closely with the U of I PERG, as well as Student Advocacy Coalition and Student Leadership and Civic Engagement on various like voter registration events, including like our Greek voter registration drive and this like kickoff program of like text banking and fund banking, also other kind of cool stuff. So please also register to vote and register your friends to vote. And then the last couple pieces, like we have our USG budget now, and we're going to be voting on that today. Please just like start thinking about ways in which you want to spend this towards like funding for emergency relief, like mask dispensers around campus, quarantine housing, Wi-Fi hotspots, so on and so forth, whatever you think you might, we might need to spend that money on. And we're going to have new member orientation on Wednesday. And then the last thing is like we met with the grad student council, talked about various like collaborations. Seems like most of what they do is like programming events. So we're probably going to co-host on some sort of program like looking to the future on this. And I also met with the student activities board, like SAB, and we're talking about putting together an event, bringing in some like a speaker to come to UIC, potentially like Angela Davis or someone like that, which would be pretty awesome. Yeah, that's everything. That concludes my report. And I have time for questions as well.
Does anyone have any questions?
I have a couple of questions. For your October 6th and October 20th events, do you have flyers or are they just like mass emails sent out?
Yeah, so we have a mass mail for both of the programs. We probably don't need to make a flyer for the one on October 20th because it's going to faculty. It's like to the provost. Like I'm gonna be honest, it's like not like a super like flashy event.
Yeah.
I would love a flyer for the October 6th event, and I spoke to Aitana about it. But of course, like me and her are still gonna work on that forward.
Okay, I'll talk to Aitana then. And then a quick question for like, there's an FSL meeting coming up. It's about voter registration. Can we include it? Can we include our Title IX meeting with them as well? Can we like incorporate both of them in one meeting?
Preferably we'd like do them in like 2 meetings if possible, just to kind of like strengthen like our focus. Because especially with FSL, like at times like it's been kind of tough to really organize like voter registration drives and voter registration programs. So we're hoping to like be successful in that realm. But of course the Title IX meetings are super, super important as well. So I think that just to give respect to both issues, maybe 2 meetings would be awesome.
That makes sense. Okay, have you sent out the email to FSL yet?
I have not. I have sent it out to the Greek programming board, if that's what you're asking about. But
yes,
Tim usually coordinates all that.
No, but that's what I'm asking. The Greek programming board.
Whatever. Yeah, I sent that out earlier today.
Okay, is it just one like entity or is it a bunch of people?
It's a bunch of people. There is a like Google Sheets that references all of the various council chairs as well as the actual leadership of the programming board itself. Tim can send that to you as well.
You know what? Yeah, I think he sent it to me. Okay, I'll look at that. I'll use that. All right, thank you. That's it.
Thank you. So Sarah, I see that you have your hand raised. Did you have a question?
Yes, I had a question for Wasan. So for the October 20th event, the faculty and the panelists, is it still too late to sign up for it? Like who do we contact if we were to?
No, absolutely not. Like we're
more.
recruiting right now. Yeah, we definitely want to have like as many, especially like new members and people who have like just came to UIC recently. And so we're shooting for about like 5 to 8 panelists total, like volunteers. So please like contact Marian at any point, really.
Okay, thank you.
Could someone drop Marion's email in the chat, please? And also, are there
Yeah.
any other questions? Okay, so if not, the president's report will be filed. Next, we have the report of the vice president.
Hi, everyone. It's wonderful to get to virtually meet most of you. And congrats at being at your first meeting. With that, my report, again, covering some of the stuff that I didn't get to last week. More work with the Mental Health Coalition. So for those of you that are hearing about it for the first time, it's kind of collecting information based off of students and how they think they would most benefit from different resources on campus to support their mental health needs. And in that, we're basically meeting with multiple different people from administration, different people in charge of kind of like different areas of that kind of issue altogether to kind of figure out a more cohesive solution, because right now the issue is kind of there are a lot of resources, but there's not a lot of follow through because typically students don't know where to go. So that's kind of a broad overview of what we've been doing through that. More specifically, in the last few weeks, there was a mental health symposium organized for all 3 of the UI schools. So I did attend that. It seemed like it was much more geared towards faculty than it was to students, and it, to me at least, felt like there was not very much actionable items that came of it, but it did give places to kind of continue asking questions and new contacts. So one of the things that came out of that was the idea to perhaps try to use our budget to subsidize apps like Calm. So that is on the agenda for this coming week. And then also looking into whether online therapy services like BetterHelp is covered under campus care. And yeah, so that was a symposium. And then also UIC has been enrolled in like a trial for a mental health app developed by a doctor at Northwestern. Her name is Dr. Laddie. So that is on its trial run. You guys may have seen on the Instagram this past week how to get involved with that. So I would definitely encourage everyone to make use of that, even as like a just general well-being app, because it helps them collect data, which then would also help us better figure out how best to get, again, resources to students and what students really respond to. So you can definitely look at the Instagram for more information on that. And then lastly, in terms of the coalition work, we are going to be sending out the faculty survey that Dahlia mentioned in previous weeks to collect information on resources and study that faculty either direct their students to or conduct in regard to their just general mental health well-being. So that was primarily most of the report. And then most of the other things like the vaccine campaign, I believe Bayan will talk about later. And then Daniela also, I have to set up a meeting with you about the vending machines for the menstrual hygiene stuff. Yeah, and then we also have a meeting with Representative Danny Davis to talk about certain things that were important to us. And then I was also at the GSC meeting with Wasson and others. Yeah, any questions?
Are there any questions for Hannah? Okay, if not, the Vice President's report will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Treasurer.
Hey, what's up, everyone? Nice to see new faces. Not a long report from me. The budget's ready to be voted on, and I'm going to start creating the deputy treasurer applications after all of like the representatives choose their committees. So more to come from the budget later. That's all.
Any questions for Anshu?
What is the name of our what is the name of our Instagram? Does anyone know?
It's just UIC USG.
Thank you.
Anshu, I had a question.
Yeah,
Yeah, so in order to apply for the deputy treasurer position, do you have to be a part of the do you have to be like for choosing a committee? Do you have to choose the treasury committee in order to apply for that, or can
yeah,
you
you
apply
would have to
from?
be in the treasury committee to apply
Okay.
it. Yeah.
I can answer that question. So you guys I will send out the application for your committee preference. I can talk a little bit more about that in my report, but basically you guys will pick a committee, and then whichever committee you are in, you will have the opportunity to be a deputy chair for that committee based on the application of the committee chair. Does that make sense?
Great, thank you.
Awesome. Does anyone have any other questions for Anshu? Okay, so if not, the report of the treasurer will be filed. Next, we have the speaker's report. So for my report, I wanted to say congratulations to all of you guys who are our new representatives. We are really excited to work with you all, and it's going to be a great semester. And also, I want to wish a good luck to our applicants presenting today. I believe there's two of you here. We're also excited to hear your presentations. So first, I wanted to say, please check your name on the agenda in the meeting 3 packet. I know I sent you guys an email for this, but if you would like me to change the way your email is written on the meeting packet, please do send me an email. Additionally, I also shared the link to the Box account. So I know some people had an issue with logging into it. If you're having an issue, try to log into it from directly from the browser rather than from the Gmail application. Um, and yeah, everyone in USG should have access to the Box account because we have a lot of cool stuff in there. All of the meeting packets, stuff from 5 years ago are sitting in there. So everyone should have access to it. And if you don't, please just send me an email as well, and we can work on that. Additionally, I shared the USG Zoom background with you all. I'm really happy to see that so many of you are wearing it. But yeah, and then also, I'm in a process of scheduling meetings with the e-board. Meetings will happen this week, and they are required for everyone in the e-board. Everyone has already scheduled a meeting with me, so that's awesome. And I will also be scheduling meetings with the representatives in the near future. I have also worked on keeping the bylaws up to date by going through our resolutions from the academic year of 2019-2020, and I changed the discrepancies. So basically what ended up happening was that we had some resolutions that we voted in that changed the bylaws, but those changes were never actually applied to the actual document of the bylaws. So I went back and I made sure that that's updated. And then I will also be introducing a new resolution to amend the bylaws even further. And after we vote on them next week, I will share with you the fully updated version of the bylaws. Additionally, the committee preference form will be sent out later this week. As soon as we have the votes for our applicants who are presenting tonight, as soon as they get their voting results, I will share the committee preference form with everyone. So there's a few important things to remember. First of all, the deadline for the committee preference form will be on Monday, October 5th by 6 p.m. So please do it before next week's meeting. Additionally, it is at a first come, first serve basis. So for example, I know There is a lot of people who are interested in the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, but if so many people apply, not everyone's going to be able to be a part of that committee. So if you apply early, you get a better chance to be a part of the committee you want. And also, you may choose a different committee than the one you showed interest to during your application. So if you showed interest to a certain committee, but then you figured out that might not be the right committee for you, you can pick a different committee. Does that make sense? And then lastly, we have the new member orientation, which we will talk a little bit more about during items of discussion. And that'll be this Wednesday from 7 to 9 p.m. So please try to attend. Well, I mean, it is mandatory, but if you can't attend either at all, or if you can only attend for like 1 hour or whatever it is, please send me an email, let me know. So yeah, that's all I have for you for my report. And does anyone have any questions? Okay, so it seems like there are no questions for me. So in that case, the speaker's report will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Chief of Staff.
Hey everyone, nice to see you all again. First and foremost, congratulations everyone, and nice to see you all here today. And good luck with the two students that are presenting their application and their portfolio today. So a couple of things to quickly talk about. We have the FSL meeting email that is being sent out. Main thing we want to talk to everyone, to the different councils and GBP, was the voter registration. And at the end of the day, we are providing an incentive for these councils so that they can get started and there's something that motivates them. Now, the second thing was, in the morning, I had a meeting with Michelle. We're talking about care packages for the Residence Hall Association and students who are actually quarantined. And it's not just a care package in terms of hand sanitizer, gloves, masks. We're also talking about USG gear. Now, apart from that, we do have a We Belong event, and to have that kind of catered to students in the dorms would be helpful. Now, the next thing was the faculty senate meeting was on the 23rd of this month. We talked about a couple of things, how the classes are being held right now. And one of the main points that we talked about was cheating and academic honesty. So Provost Poser has actually given us a job to do. She wants us to do a survey and get students' feedback and opinion on how we can prevent cheating and how to improve academic honesty and how to get the experience right now when classes are held virtually better. And on that note, there is the event on October 20th where students will be giving their feedback. I was asked to also give feedback because I did my summer semester outside the country. So that was something I wanted to talk about. And finally, we had the Students Meeting Congress event 2 weeks ago. We met with US Rep. Rodney Davis, and we talked about three things: immigration reform, funding for research, and COVID relief. So these are just a couple of things that we talked about, did, and will do in the next week. That's it from my side. Great to see everyone again, and looking forward to seeing you all on Wednesday. I yield to the floor.
Does anyone have any questions?
I have a question. So, oh, I don't know if it is for Tim, but like, what happened to the respondus resolution that we passed? Did we pass it?
I can respond to that. We have not passed the respondents resolution. It is up for discussion today. It went through first reading a couple weeks ago.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions?
Yes, I have a question for you. So for the committee, you said that the email was going to be sent out when, so we could apply for that committee?
Yes, so that will happen later this week. We don't know the exact time yet, depending on when we vote in the new members, or whenever they get the results. We will send it as soon as possible. I'm hoping we can send it later tonight if we vote on the new members applications today. But we'll have to see. Does anyone have any questions for Tim? Okay, so if there are no more questions, then that means the report of the Chief of Staff has been filed. Next, we have the report of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee Chair.
Hello, everyone. One second, let me pull it up real quick. Okay, so hi, I'm obviously very excited to see new faces. We've been having a lot of meetings where we're just the cabinet members, so it's definitely exciting to see more people. A couple of things we've been working on. There's a meeting set up with the African American Culture Center and the Arab American Center. We're meeting this Wednesday to talk about the event that we're planning to have, hopefully by mid-October. We're planning a Know Your Rights event. It's gonna be about like police and protesting. They have a lot of connections. They've been doing it for the past few years, so hopefully we'll get like a collaboration there. And if there's like any committees that are interested in joining on this event, please like reach out. Watson and I met with Sherry, who is, I'm like so bad at names, so I have no idea how to say her last name. But Sherry is a great person, and she's Public Information Associate in the Office of Vice Chancellor for Administrative Services. And she is launching a flu vaccine campaign that Hannah like mentioned in her report. And we're sending out emails. We already sent out emails to all the pre-health organizations, and we're having a meeting with them this week, hopefully Thursday. By the way, Watson, like the doodle form, it's most likely going to be on Thursday, like 5 or 6 p.m. We're going to talk to them about the campaign, and we're hoping to get like collaboration on there. So Sherry actually emailed us today, and she told us a lot of information. But she's still like their committee haven't finalized everything. So once everything is finalized, hopefully by Thursday, so we can like have it all discussed at that meeting with the pre-health organizations. So we'll let you guys know more information once like she gives us all the details on like when it's happening, what days, and how like to get access to the vaccine and all that. We're still working on I'm still working on Title IX infographics. So I'm supposed to like create this timeline for all the regulations and what Title IX has like been throughout the years. It's actually very exciting. Hopefully we'll have it done. So the FSL email is being sent out like as we're speaking. I'll have it sent out by the end of the meeting. So we'll probably have a meeting with them this week, hopefully, to just present the idea to them. So the idea is that for the new members, because you guys haven't like heard of this yet. So the idea that Watson had is launching a movement against sexual violence, and we're partnering up with the Campus Advocacy Network unit on campus to do this. We've met with them a couple of times. They helped us out with like all the language and like just the logistics of how the movement is going to be like. So we're meeting with FSL or like Greek Programming Board and the council presidents to plan the details and have them collaborate with us. So we're gonna have infographics made, and we're gonna be releasing them through the month of October, throughout October, and then by the end of October, we're gonna have a Know Your Rights event about like specifically about the new regulations. And there is an event with the Campus Advocacy Network happening. So this is actually a series that our former chairwoman started, Shake It Up series. It's a very helpful event, very informative. If you guys want to be a part of it, it's going to be on October 7th from 3 to 4:30. So let me know. We have the flyer. I can send out the flyer actually. I can send the flyer to Daniela, and she can send it like in the email that she sends out to you guys. But we have the flyer on the newsletter. So finally, the newsletter has been figured out, and we've been sending it out. Well, we sent it out once because like it's only the second one. So the third one is gonna be coming out Wednesday, and we finally like figured how to send it through the listserv. So right now I'm gonna pull out the Google form where you guys can sign up for our newsletter. And oh, Aitana, you just like sent it to me. But okay, anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna like find the Google form right now, and then you guys can sign up for our newsletter through the Google form. And that's it. I yield for questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Bayan?
Yes, for I'm sorry, for the discussion about the know your rights, when could we like be expecting that email to just participate in that event?
Yeah. So the meeting is happening this Wednesday. I can literally like have you be part of the meeting if you could just send me your email right now through the
Yeah,
chat.
yeah, I'll send you
And
in the chat.
okay, I'll send you the Zoom link for sure.
Great, thank you.
Of course, you're welcome.
Are there any other questions for Bayan? Okay, so if not, the report of the chairwoman of the Diversity and Inclusion Committee will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Legislative Affairs Committee chair.
Hey y'all, I hope everyone's had a good week so far. Congratulations to all of our new members. It's really exciting to see you all. As for me, I don't necessarily have a very strict report. I've kind of just been sending out emails, and I've also been in a couple meetings with Timothy and Wesson and also with Marion. And it's just a lot of figuring out and moving puzzle pieces around and not necessarily anything concrete. So I don't really have anything to speak on per se. However, for our new members, I did want to just bring up that we're working on a U of I Systems event towards Election Day. We are putting out some words from USG, GSG, and also the student trustee in regards to getting out to vote. We're in coordination with SAC, we're going to try and do some ward-focused events, and we're also trying to put up voter squads in a lot of UIC's organizations, and hoping that that really increases retention. So other than that, I don't really have anything to report. If you guys do want to reach out to me about initiatives or things that you think are really important as new members, then definitely go ahead and reach out to me. I would say other than that, me and Aitana are both working on putting out a video, and it's titled Why We Vote, USG. And the videos, you are going to be receiving a script tonight, since everybody is confirmed that has gone into that has gone in and filled out my form that I sent out a couple weeks ago. Thank you, by the way. So yeah, I've gotten confirmation from everybody that's on there, and those are people that are here now. So you should be getting an email tonight about a script, and I would like that done as soon as possible. It should be, I think, chest up and your phone flipped landscape for the recording, and then sent to me or to Aitana in regards to, in the form of like a Google Drive folder or anything like that. And if you do have issues sending the video to me once you do get the script, let me know and we can try and figure that out. Other than that, I think I'm all good, and I yield for questions.
Any questions for Dalia? Okay, so if there are no questions for Dalia, then the report of the chairwoman of the Legislative Affairs Committee will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Public Relations Committee chair.
Hello. So I haven't done as much as everybody, but then what I've been doing is that I am uploading the website with the events. So I've uploaded the viewing for the debate candidate tomorrow, and I've uploaded every single one of our meetings. So you guys don't even have to wait for Daisy's email for the links. You can just go to the website and then click on the meeting that we have, and then there's a Zoom link there, automatic. I'm having troubles with implementing a calendar on the website. I contacted the previous webmaster, Anna Maria, and we're both trying to figure out right now, but none of us knows. So I'm going to proceed and contact Red, which is the platform that UIC uses for websites, and ask for their help. Another thing I'm working on is getting our merchandise. I contacted the UIC athletics department, but I haven't gotten anything. So I'm gonna proceed and contact another personnel because I got the personnel from the intercollegiate athletics department. So I'm gonna go contact his lower parts. That sounded weird, sorry. And then I'm working on with Dahlia. Guys, stop! No, I'm working with Dahlia. I'm working with that's my report. I yield for any questions.
That was a very entertaining
I
report.
have a
Thank
quick
you.
question.
Yes, go for
I
it.
have a quick question. Dahlia, I mean not Dahlia, but what's it? Aitana. So, you know how we belong with the counseling center. So someone from the athletic department actually like reached out to them and told them like it was a cool idea, whatever. They gave them feedback on the event. Would it be helpful if like we get like that person for you to contact, or like do you need to contact specific people?
No, the previous PRC chair did not mention who to contact for this, so any contact would be great.
Okay, I'll see if it's helpful. We'll get it. We'll talk to her.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, I also have a contact. We were reached out to like by the advisor for the student athletics like advisory council. Basically, their like governance structure, and they wanted to like meet with us, kind of see how they can be more involved in advocacy. So as we kind of plan this meeting ahead, we'll definitely like CC you on all that.
Awesome, thank you. Additionally, I'd like to ask the body if we're continuing to purchase masks for designer USG masks for the UAC body, along with the vending machine. Yeah, everybody's in on it? Okay, we'll submit an RFF soon.
Are there any other questions for Aitana? I would like to mention, Aitana said that the link for the USG meetings will be on the website. I also want to let you guys know that that's the same exact link every single meeting. So yeah. Are there any other questions for Aitana or comment? I know you had something to say.
So if you guys know anybody that wants to hop in and do a commentary, tell them to go to our website and also email Daisy at the USG Speaker of House email.
Yep, or personal email also works fine. Thank you. All right, so with that, the report of the chairwoman of the Public Relations Committee will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Student Affairs Committee Chair.
Hello, everyone. First, I want to say I hope everyone had a good week. I want to welcome all of our new representatives. I'm very excited that you all are here, and I can't wait to work with you all this school year. A couple of weeks ago, I participated in SEC's Lobby Week, where we joined calls to learn more about Congress as well as the U of I system. I personally spoke with my rep for Congresswoman Robin Kelly of my district. I was with two other members of SAC, and myself and them, we advocated for the international students, for Pell Grants, for COVID-19 relief, gun control, as well as educational support for UIC and more. I also entered a presentation with Alex Vitale on defunding the police, methods to actualize that goal, and the Racist Foundation that started the police force. As you all know, SCIU as well as INA, which are workers of UIC, went on strike. And after a long strike, they were able to win their new contract. I met with Dahlia this week. We were talking about things for the Black at UIC page, trying to get the details and the timeline of that ready. Just a quick note on the census. There's been like a lot of like date fluctuations of when it ends. The tentative end date is supposed to be September 30th, but California court just ruled that it should extend to October 31st, but Trump's administration may appeal that. So if you haven't, or if you or anyone in your household hasn't filled it out, I would just suggest that you fill it out before the 30th, just to be safe. And then I also worked on the Google form for Watson. And then if you guys had any interest in joining that panel, you can just email me and let me know, and I'll give you the information for that. And I will yield for questions.
Are there any questions for Marian? Okay, So if not, then the report of the chairwoman of the Student Affairs Committee will be filed. Next, we have the report of the Campus Lab Committee Chair.
Hello, everyone. It's so lovely to see so many new faces today, and I look forward to working with you all this semester. So my report, last week I had a couple meetings with certain people with Graduate Student Council, and we discussed the possibilities of meeting with like a joint UIC council meeting. I met with the Mental Health Coalition as well, and I'm doing some research on how to successfully implement a website with like mental health capabilities. And this week, there's a Wellness Center student panel that they've asked us to find candidates for, and that would be on October 14th from 2:30 to 3:15. And anyone in USG is allowed to apply because they want a variety of students with different backgrounds, majors, years, etc. So if you're interested, please shoot me an email, and then you'll have to email Jacqueline, who's part of the Wellness Center, before Wednesday, 5 p.m. with some information about yourself. If you're interested, just let me know, and I can explain further if you want. And I believe I have Dahlia and Marion signed up right now, so we have space for one more person. So yeah, let me know. I'm working on a student complaint survey. I'm thinking of ways to most effectively gather data from students, and I'm waiting to really hunker down on this when we have more committee members, because I'd like some input from you guys. And last but not least, Tim talked a little about this. We're thinking of doing care packages for quarantined students on campus in SSR. So it's in the works right now, and we're kind of discussing what should be in them and like how they would be made. So it would most likely have to be a USG effort. So if you guys are down to like volunteer and like make some care packages, that'd be great, and we could do that. And I'll definitely contact Itana about including some USG merch in those too. So it'd ideally be half USG merch and half COVID supplies. And if anyone has any ideas or wants to be involved in that, let me know again. And thank you very much. I yield for questions.
I'm sorry. Can you explain what is it that you have the one more spot open for?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
I was saying you said that you had one more spot open. What was that for? Sorry, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't really explain it very well. There's a student panel that the Wellness Center wants us to be a part of, which is basically they have students talking about their best study tips and like how they're dealing with online classes. And you'd basically be talking about that to other students. So like you just talk about like your most effective study tips for online classes and like what you do, how you plan your day and like stuff like that. So if you're interested.
Okay, thank you.
How would we get involved in that?
You can email me, and then I will send your email over to Jacqueline, and then you can email her your major, year, and a short description of your most effective studying tips.
All right, thank you.
Michelle, I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there a flyer for that panel event?
Not that I know of yet. It's October 14th, so there's still quite a bit until that happens. If there is, I'll be sure to send it over.
Okay. Can I just email Jacqueline?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for Michelle?
I don't have a question, but maybe a comment. For the care packages for students that are in the dorms, you could also include kind of like rubric cubes or whatever, like keeps their mind busy, maybe like a coloring book or anything like that, so they have kind of like something to do to pass time.
Yeah. I'll brainstorm some things and I'll bring it up next meeting and we can decide then.
Any other questions?
I was wondering if you could drop your email in the chat.
Oh, yeah, totally. Sorry.
No, thank you. And then for the care packages, I would really like to get involved in that too. How would I do that though? Like, how would I get involved with that?
It's more like a whole USG thing. So like when the time comes, we'll probably need volunteers to like make the care packages. So
Okay.
if you're comfortable with like being around people, then that'd be great. We could always use an extra hand.
Okay.
Are there any other questions? Okay, so if not, the report of the chairwoman of the campus LAC committee will be filed. The next order of business is vacancy seat election. So let me explain how that is going to work. So we have, I believe, 2 members today that are going to be presenting. So for these members, we're going to put you guys in a breakout room with our chief of staff, Tim. And you're just going to stay there for the most of the time. And you will, after that, we'll pull you out of the breakout room. We'll give you, and we'll bring you back here in the main room. We'll give you 2 minutes to present your speech, and then there will be time for questions. One of the things that you will be asked is the name of the committee chair you contacted, so make sure you have that ready. And yeah, after you give your speech, there will be some time for questions from our representatives and e-board members, and then you will be returned back to the breakout room. After both of you guys give your speech, we'll also take some additional time to vote. And after we vote, we can announce the results immediately. And then after that, you will say the USG oath, and you will also become representatives, and you'll be able to vote in the resolutions. So yeah, does that make sense? Does anyone have any questions on the process? No? Okay. All right, so Aitana, could you please pause the recording? Okay, let's see. All right, it looks like both of you are back, so welcome back. So I would like to congratulate both of you for becoming USG representatives. You guys were both voted in and had some really strong applications, so congratulations.
Thank you.
Of course. We're really excited to have you here and to work with you. And I would also like to have you take the USG oath as well, so that you can vote on the resolutions that are coming up. So Alfredo and Jada, please turn on your microphone and camera if possible. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear
I do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the students of the University of Illinois at Chicago,
The students of Illinois
the students at the University of Illinois at Chicago,
that I will serve students
that I will serve students
faithfully and truthfully,
faithfully and truthfully,
and that I will uphold, protect, and preserve
and that I will uphold, protect, and
preserve
the Constitution and standing rules
the Constitution and standing rules
of the undergraduate student government.
of the undergraduate student government.
Congratulations. Woo!
Thank you.
Good job, y'all. We're really excited to work both with you and everyone else who has already been voted in. And yeah, thank you so much for presenting, and thank you so much for being here. And with that, we can move on to the next order of business, which is resolutions, which is old business. And for old business, first we have resolution 2020-F1-1100. So Wasan, would you like to read it, please?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. This resolution is on a ban of webcam monitoring spyware in academic programs. And it reads, whereas the student body faces a number of challenges during the COVID-19 pandemic, including the transition to hybrid, remote, and on-campus learning, the undergraduate student government recognizes the strain this places on faculty, graduate teaching assistants, and students. And whereas Respondus Lockdown Browser has been implemented at UIC in various courses as a means to monitor and record a student's environment and seize control over their computer, this web browser is a downloaded tool which some faculty are required to be launched before assessments to record through webcam device. And whereas there are clear ethical and civil liberties concerns for students being monitored in their own homes. The use of student data without a dedicated Bill of Rights has been challenged by faculty unions, citing a source from this challenge. This level of monitoring presents a form of trauma to students, particularly BIPOC students, who have been historically overly surveilled. Clearly, the stressful environment of a test or quiz is not one. And whereas, as evidenced by the Zoom and Blackboard outage on August 24th, 2020, an over-reliance on webcam-based technologies for education is often harmful. Internet outages at the university or at home can lead to respondents' malfunction and forfeiture of control over your device for a period of time. Students who lack webcam access or printer access are given the added burden of procuring these devices. And whereas respondents has been banned at institutions due to these clear concerns, including the University of California at Berkeley, and face significant student and faculty criticism at the University of California at Santa Barbara, an internet search indicates 23 .org petitions to prevent the use of respondents and 26 to prevent the use of HonorLock, with thousands of supporters at several higher education institutions. Our very own Academic Computing Communications Center has recommended against the use of these software tools. Then, let it be resolved that USG rejects the use of webcam monitoring software and lockdown browsers as part of academic programs. The USG calls upon Provost Susan Poser to issue a campus-wide ban on these mechanisms. We recommend instead professors who have concerns of cheating pursue alternate avenues that are non-punitive. This includes, but is not limited to, open notes assessments or group assessments.
All right, thank you. I don't think I would be able to share my screen right now, Daniela, but could someone else do that, please? And thank you for reading that, Wasan. So we will vote on this resolution today because it is old business, which means we presented it last time and we read over it last time. And are there any questions or comments regarding this resolution?
I do have a question. So, how could we prevent cheating when if ban respondents?
Yeah, I think Representative Almendras, that's a completely valid question. From what I've seen, first off, like respondents does not necessarily prevent cheating in these classrooms. There are like several ways that people have found to already get around this. Creates a sort of like arms race where you, like as a student, are faced with like further burning technologies that will cause like further problems down the line. But what we're recommending for here is essentially like a change in the way in which we're assessed, whether that be through different forms of assessments given by professors that focus less on just like multiple choice avenues, like whether that be exams that are timed, that provide more like free response options or something of the sorts, essentially looking at ways that are like non-punitive, especially for people who may have difficulties like using the software.
Okay, thank you. Because I feel like respondents, while it doesn't completely annihilate the cheating aspect, I think it does reduce the amount of cheating that happens among students.
Quick question. Is Respondus the software that like tracks your eye movement, or is that just a lockdown browser?
No, that's Respondus.
Okay, so yeah, if it does like track eye movement, that is actually not an effective way of like tracking if people are cheating, because there have been many stories of students saying, I was literally just reading the screen, and as you're reading from right to left, it's tracking your eyes, and then it's thinking, or left to right. Yeah, it's thinking that you're like cheating when you're not. And also like a lot of students have anxiety and they have like different things that respondents will count as cheating even though it's not.
Yeah, Chairwoman Odotic brings up like a super huge point about ableism, specifically like if you have like ADHD and you have like sort of like attention deficit disorder where you have like eye fluttering, you literally can't use this software and take your exam. And while professors should take that into account and should offer accommodations, that often isn't the case.
Are there any other
I think this is
questions?
answered. Oh, sorry.
Oh, sorry, go for it.
I think this was answered a couple weeks ago, but so by enacting this resolution, what exactly, what's the action that would be taken? Is it just a recommendation to the dean, or?
The honest answer is that's something that I'm still trying to figure out. Looks like the next steps would be to present in front of the academic senate, as well as propose a resolution to Provost Poser. We would probably sit down with her at some point because she'd probably have a lot of similar questions to talk about through this process.
Okay.
Are there any other questions or any changes that you guys would like to make to this resolution, because you, as representatives, you guys can amend it, meaning that you can change something about it. So if you have any suggestions, let us know.
I have a question. Since obviously we're not in person taking the exam, if we were in person, the exam like wouldn't be open notes or something like that. So is there a way where we can maybe, instead of using the lockdown browser, another way of monitoring taking the test where it's not you have access to your notes, or like something that can straight up like give you the answer? Because we're still trying to simulate like we're at school in the classroom. Do we have any knowledge of technology that can do that?
I know for a lot of CS students who were kind of hesitant about downloading Respondus, some professors, I think at the end of last semester, so in the spring, kind of gave them the option of all entering like the same Blackboard Collaborate room and take the exam at the same time, so synchronously. So that is definitely an option, but that would also kind of warrant other questions and whatnot.
And I think kind of just taking off on that point, like if you have a certain time frame, it does become like a lot more difficult to spend part of that time like looking up the answer, or spend part of that time searching for the answer in alternative venues if you have only like an hour to complete this exam during which like you're all together.
All right, are there any questions or any amendments?
Just a quick question. In terms of Respondus lockdown browser, are there any case studies from like similar colleges who have implemented this campus-wide? If there is, what were their results? Was it very effective? Were there any like high cases where people had different exceptions or anything like that?
Yeah, great question again. So like looking through specifically about student response to Respondus, it's almost always been significantly negative. Like I've shown here, right? You've got like 23 change.org petitions with thousands of signatures across the country. And that's just the start of it. You also have a lot of like faculty unions who are standing up to this, specifically at UC Berkeley, like they straight up just banned the software. So when it comes to other institutions, I don't know if they have specific data as to the effectiveness of preventing cheating, or the effectiveness of what's more important, of course, like student learning and student like grades related to the software and its use. I haven't seen any studies that that show anything similar to that. That being said, though, of course, like I would definitely like welcome any sort of evidence that anyone has found with regards to this.
Thank you.
I was wondering if an amendment could be made about, like recommending like changing exams. I understand that we want to, simulate like the classroom experience, but obviously like this pandemic, it's not the same. We're in a different kind of world now, and I think it's important for teachers to also like curriculums to adapt their exams too. There's a lot of ways you can change those exams to make them, even if you do have your notes open, like exams are meant to test how much you've learned, not necessarily whether or not you can answer a question correctly. I think that should be a recommendation that is made through this resolution.
Yes, so thank you for bringing that up. So if you would like to make any amendments, you can say, I move to amend, and then read the part that you want to amend, and then you say to, so basically you will amend X to Y. Does that make sense? So if you want anything amended, you can just say, I motion to amend X to Y, and then we would vote on that amendment. So if you would like to amend anything, feel free to say I motion to, and say whatever you want to change.
What if I don't know exactly how I word said amendment?
No, I think that's completely valid. I think that I also recognize it's super, super hard to try to amend something when it's literally on my screen as I'm scrolling. So I also do think it's reasonable to amend something after it's been passed, if there's a resolution that's been accepted, and then you propose an amendment, and then that's further voted on.
Cool.
All right.
I have a question.
Yeah,
oh, sorry.
No, go for it.
I don't know if like you know this, you probably don't. But have there been like studies, and you have like statistical data on how many times Respondus has inaccurately said someone was cheating?
I'm sorry if I'm speaking out of turn, but I don't have studies for this, but Respondus, I'm taking a chemistry class right now, and Respondus literally tagged every single one of the chemistry quizzes that we took as cheating, and none of us were cheating, and the TAs had to spend hours looking through every single one. So there's that as well.
Yeah, again, like I think it's a great question. I just think that this sort of situation hasn't been long enough for there to be these sorts of studies around it. Again, like when it comes to classes, like I've been in classes where people will be eating a sandwich and like all of a sudden like they'll be flagged for respondus. Your mom comes in, shows up in the middle of like your exam and now you're respondus. I don't know, stuff like that happens.
That's an issue that like I'm facing, and I know that a lot of people in my like and just in my class in general, because I come from like maybe like a lower class, and like first of all, the cost of getting a laptop that has a webcam, I'm fortunate enough, but there are people who don't have that. And second of all, just being like many people live in small spaces, small houses, like 2-bedroom apartments with a lot of siblings or kids, and it's very hard to control who's coming in and who's coming out or what's happening in the background. And I know that respondents flags people on that, and I think that's unfair because we don't really have control over that situation, you know?
I would also like to add that some people just don't want to be recorded in their houses with spyware. If it's something that's called spyware, it already gives off like a bad kind of like connotation, and I just feel like that just adds an extra like level of pressure to students when they're trying to take a test as well.
I want to add this, like for example, like all the class is online right now, so like I usually take note on like the ebook, and so like the locked up browser is gonna be hard on me to like even open my note or something.
Any other comments, questions, amendments, anything?
I would just want to kind of say we need to make sure that if this is something that we are going to be passing, we need to ensure that the faculty is also aware. Like, I think in my dealing with some of the higher faculty, it's been really difficult for them for some reason to understand, like, oh, everyone's situations are different. So when I've had conversations and I've said, well, with other people, and I've said, well, not everyone's going to be the same or going to have the same conditions, higher faculty, higher ed constituents have shut that down for my point in the conversation and said, well, they can remove themselves from that situation. They can go to a library. They can sit on campus. And I think these are things that they're going to be brought up just because I know that higher ed is also trying to make sure that every office, every department just kind of does its own thing. Every professor is doing what they see fit. And I think if we're going to be continuing with using online classes, which in the foreseeable future is going to happen, we need to make sure that faculty and just in general, the chancellor's office is realizing it's not going to be sustainable for us to be using Respondus for students with anxiety tics, for students with small homes, for students that are unable to find a like quiet space at a specific time in the day. So I think if we want to tighten the wording or if we want to do a follow-up resolution in regards to how we phrase things, just to make sure that they don't shut us down and they can't shut us down in any way, I would love for us to do that.
I would say maybe in addition to what Dahlia was saying, not necessarily adding to this resolution, but maybe so having a petition and having that be circulated and then presenting this resolution with the signatures from the petition to higher education, just so that they can say, well, oh, well, where are the facts to back this up? Like some people have been asking, and then you actually have the list of signatures from students that have shown concerns.
I think that even on top of the petition, a student panel, because I feel like we need evidence of like different students and their circumstances to like sometimes admin really need like proof in order to change something. So definitely like getting a student panel with admin involved, we would have to show something.
Well, we're going to have that panel with the provost on October 20th. And so I feel like because a lot of students have in-person classes, they can also talk about that at the panel.
Okay, any last thoughts before we move on to voting?
Yeah, I also think that we might want to add on something to do with just like alternative ways. We talked about this a little bit, but alternative ways to prevent cheating in classes. Like this sounds kind of unethical in itself, but some teachers have posted incorrect answers on Google and like Quizlet and stuff, so that students who cheat on their quizzes go to Google it, put the wrong answer, and then they know that they cheated. So there's like an ethical gray area there as well. But if the goal is to stop cheating, that has worked in the past.
Overall, higher institution has never really been inclusive whatsoever. So we need to take into consideration that this is all purposeful, and they're doing it all purposefully as like a method to not see their students succeed. So this is way deeper than just having a camera looking at you and your eyes going side to side. This is us calling out UIC for their ethics, because UIC is not being ethical. They're not being empathetic. They're not understanding students, and like many other administrators and many other professors, they're doing this on purpose. They're doing it so they can make like the lives of the student in the middle of a pandemic way more complicated. So if we're gonna call them out for this, we need to call them out for their lack of sympathy for the students. It's definitely something deeper than that. So as USG, as a liaison between the administration and the student body, we really need to call them out. Not just for one specific reason. Not just for one specific reason, but calling them out for their lack of ethics in the middle of a pandemic.
Okay, so it seems like there's a lot of discussion generated by this resolution. However, we have about 4 or 5 more resolutions that we need to get through today. So would you guys like to table it for the next meeting, come back to it at the next meeting? If you guys have any comments or any suggestions that you would like to bring to the next meeting, would you like to table it so that we can come back to it? Or would you like to move on to voting on it today?
I think this is a time-sensitive issue. I know there is a lot more to be done. There's a lot more that can be done with this, but as Watson said, I think we can always add amendments once it's passed. I think if we can bring this to someone's attention as soon as possible. I mean, with midterms coming up, every midterm that passes is like another student that we let down, basically. So I think it would be better to not table this for right now.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree. I feel like this is to say that we don't want respondents, and I think what we were saying outside of that can be a different resolution or a different method or tactic to get our points across.
Okay, all right, thank you both for your insight. So in that case, let's move on to voting. Give me 1 second. All right, so all those in favor of adopting resolution 2020-F01-1100, please say aye.
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 Aye. All that oppose, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, so in that case, resolution 2020-F01-1100 has been passed. Our next resolution is resolution 2020-F1-1101. So Wasan, would you like to read this one as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So this resolution is in support of #4UIC, and it reads, whereas the Black Graduate Student Association, Graduate Employees Organization, and Students for a Democratic Society held a rally on August 22nd, 2020 at UIC Chancellor Michael Emeritus' home. Their goal was to advocate for a no vote on the Fraternal Order of Police union contract with the UIC Police Department. Police unions are often in opposition to significant policing reform and may protect officers accused of misconduct through closed-door arbitration. A link to their 2 demands can be found here. and I'll just read them out to you all. They call for, again, a no vote on the FOP contract, and they also call for a seat at the table in a discussion with the Chancellor's office and other administrative officials. And then let it be resolved that USG supports the call of these activists in pushing for a safer and more equitable UIC campus with a reduced police budget / presence and increased access to safety resources and community investment.
All right, thank you. So we will also have this resolution to vote on tonight. So are there any questions or comments regarding this resolution, or are there any amendments?
I have a question. If it's possible, could one of you just explain a little bit more about like why this is technically like a problem? Like, cause I don't have much knowledge about the Fraternal Order of Police, so that's why.
Yeah, absolutely, Representative Khan. I think that's a great question. Essentially, this was something that happened a couple weeks ago, so it is like a little bit of a delayed vote in support of their action. But basically, the FOP contract was up for vote with the Board of Trustees. Now, the FOP is like the policing union. They work very similar to any other union, a teachers union or any other sort of organization. The big difference, though, of course, is that FOP unions across the country and at UIC as well have often kind of like stood in the way of like policing reform and police changes, especially the more progressive ones. And so that's like one of the big issues. The other big issue, of course, is this kind of second part that I mentioned about like officers accused of misconduct. So if there is an like any sort of like incident of officer misconduct, often it's the policing unions, places like FOP, that do prevent those sorts of cases from really kind of seeing the light of day and seeing justice being made, in my opinion.
Thank you. Any comments or questions or amendments before we vote on this? Okay, if not, then we can vote on this resolution. All those in favor of adopting resolution 2020-F1-1101, please say aye.
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 All that oppose, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? Okay, so if not, the resolution has passed. Next, we have resolution 2020-F1-401. Aitana, could you please read it?
Yes, I can. All right. Chief sponsors are Chair of Public Relations, me. Oh. Scrolling? Is somebody scrolling it? Okay, there it is. Okay. Co-sponsors are Chair of Diversity and Inclusion, Bayan Hamad, and Chair of Campus Life, Michelle Zhao. Whereas a central responsibility of the Public Relations Committee is to promote and create imagery within the committee's capabilities for events and announcements at a representative's request. And whereas, as the demands for social media promotion, such as events and announcements, increase, the Public Relations Committee wants to ensure proper promotion of each event by requesting USG representatives to notify and/or involve PRC with their event plans so that we, as a committee, can efficiently design imagery that best suits that event and can promote that event with a repetitive approach through USG social media, for example, Instagram, Facebook stories, reposting, etc. Then, let it be resolved, USG representatives will contact and/or involve the Public Relations Committee with their events, preferably 2 weeks in advance with a 1-week minimum, regarding the promotion and creation of imagery of their planned event. Let it be further resolved, this system will ensure proper promotion and imagery of the event. I yield for questions.
I have a question. So essentially this would mean that any event that any committee does, like public, and I don't know if this was how it was in like before anyways, but Public Relations Committee would be in charge of like creating a flyer or something?
So how it was before was that the committee can either create the flyers themselves because they have their own aesthetics, or can reach out towards the Public Relations Committee and help develop a flyer.
Okay, sounds good.
Other questions or comments or amendments before we vote on this resolution?
Just want to do like a clarification. So you would want us USG representatives that if there is an event or if we want to declare like an event happening, we would communicate with the Public Relations Committee. Is that what the resolution is asking for?
Yes, it's basically asking for you as representatives to involve the public, the PRC, so that we can properly help you promote your activity and event.
Anything else?
Do committees have their own? They don't have their own social media, right? It all goes through USG.
Yes, we only have one main USG social account.
Any other comments, questions, or amendments? Okay, it doesn't seem like it. So in that case, we can vote on this resolution. All those in favor of adopting a resolution 2020-F1-401, please say aye.
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 All that oppose, please say nay. Does anyone abstain? All right, so this resolution has passed. The next order of business is new business. And first we have resolution 2020-F2-800. Anshu, would you like to read it, please?
Yeah, whereas the undergraduate student government receives funding and needs these funds to be allocated and agreed upon before being spent, and whereas according to Article 8, Section 3, Clause A of the bylaws, the treasurer must handle financial affairs and budgeting of the funding received, and whereas according to Article 4, Section D, Clause 2 of the Constitution, the treasurer must introduce an annual budget by the third meeting, and let it be resolved, the attached documents will serve as a 2020-2021 undergraduate student government budget. And I can go over this really quick as well. So this is the total amount is 107,000. So the general fee is mandatory, so we don't really have a say in that. The discretionary fund can be used for any USG events and any USG work. So by directors and representatives alike. The COVID fund is going to be used specifically for COVID related items, grants, prizes, events, anything COVID related will come out of the COVID fund. We have a house fund for any representatives to do for any, like they can use this money for anything they want as long as it's voted upon. The director's fund is like the house fund, but just the executive board and anyone holding a chair position. The sustainability fund is just for like our convenience. So if there's money we want to use from two different funds and it's like the total doesn't represent one of the funds, we can move them to the sustainability fund and use both of them, or it's just for our convenience basically. The external organization fund will be used for any external orgs that apply for funding, whether it be for events or like items that they need. And then the stipends are self-explanatory, just payments for everyone holding a chair position. And the Dean of Students worker amount is still uncertain, so that can be changed at any time. So if you guys have any questions, let me know.
Can I ask something real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm sure this all sounds good. I just have a quick question for Watson. You know how we're doing the flu vaccine campaign? Do you know like which one of these categories we'll be using for the funds?
Yeah, I mean, the funds would probably be pulled out of either discretionary or directors.
Okay. Oh, okay, I see. All right. Oh, good. Okay.
Are there any questions or comments or amendments to this budget plan?
Yes. I see that for the what is it? For the chairs, it has decreased from last year. Is there a reason why?
The reason why I don't think if it was decreased, I think everyone was decreased from last year because the budget decreased as a whole by like 20,000 or so. So I believe everyone's was decreased.
No, I checked. Some of them stayed the same. Some of them went down by like a couple of hundred, but the only one that really changed drastically was just the chairs.
If you have an amendment, we can amend it. If you have any suggestions, I'm happy to hear any suggestions.
I have a comment on this, if you don't mind. So I actually believe that it's in some of our legislative documents that this that the fund for stipends is supposed to go up with inflation. So I just wanted to let you guys know about that.
Is that the stipends for like all positions or just for the chairs?
I believe it's all. I'm gonna have to double check. Any other comments or questions?
Are we voting this next week? Because I actually also wanted to revisit and maybe make an amendment for the secretary stipend.
Yes, this is a new business resolution, so we'll be voting on this next week.
For I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I just have a quick question. If Anshu, if you could confirm, I think last year for the chairs it was 2,200. I may be off by like a couple of numbers, but I think that's what it was last year.
Let me check really quick and get back to you. But I'm completely okay with increasing it. If you guys just give me like a estimation of how much you want and like which fund you want it out of, I'm happy to change that.
I think it would make the most sense just to come out of the discretionary fund, just because the House fund is for reps and the director's fund is for the executive board. And so discretionary is just if we didn't want to use it from those funds, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's fine. I guess if you guys just email me like what amendments you want, I can get back to you on that.
Okay.
So I looked it up, and it's in the USG bylaws in Article 10, stipends for USG members, and it says in Section 1, subpoint E, it says stipends will be set according to the budget inflation. So this is, I thought it would be just the regular inflation, but it turns out it's the budget inflation. So basically, however the budget is changed, our stipends are also changed according to the bylaws. But we can amend that if you guys would like to. Any other comments or questions or amendments? Okay, if not, then we can return back to this resolution at our next meeting. Next, we have Resolution 2020-F3-902, Committee Responsibilities, Amendment to the Bylaws. The Chief Sponsor is Speaker of the House, Daisy Sancheva. Whereas the USG is committed to transparency and accountability, and whereas the USG strives for accessibility, and whereas the USG shall minimize the unnecessary year-to-year amendments to the bylaws, and whereas Article 6 of the bylaws states, subpoint 1, the 5 established committees will be required to 2. Hold weekly scheduled meetings. 3. Follow the rules set forth by the committee chairman established at the first committee meeting of each semester. 4. Submit a biweekly written report of progress to the Chief of Staff, Speaker of the House, and an oral report to the legislative branch. 5. Submit a weekly report to the committee meetings to the Chief of Staff and Speaker of the House. Then, let it be resolved that Article 6 of the bylaws shall be amended as follows. Subpoint 1. The established committees will be required to. Subpoint A. Hold weekly scheduled meetings. Subpoint B. Follow the rules set forth by the committee chairperson established at the first committee meeting of each semester. Subpoint C. Submit a weekly written report of progress to the Chief of Staff and Speaker of the House, and a weekly oral report to the legislative branch as part of their committee responsibilities. D. Submit a weekly report for committee meetings to the Chief of Staff and Speaker of the House. So I presented this resolution because, first of all, it says 5 committee chairs, and right now we have 6. So that is a part that says unnecessary year-to-year amendments. so we can just get rid of the number so it stays the same year to year. Additionally, I wanted to amend the part that says chairman to chairperson, even though that's already been amended in the previous resolution. So I will get to changing that. And also, I have a lot of people who have not been submitting their officer reports. And the reason why I presented this resolution is to make it a part of the bylaws that you guys will be required to submit a weekly report rather than bi-weekly. And also that you would have to state a weekly oral report to the legislative branch. And the reason why is because Daniela has been trying to get those reports from you guys so that it would be easier for her to write the minutes. However, a lot of you have not been doing those, so I would like for that to be a part of the bylaws so we can help Daniela. Additionally, it's for transparency reasons because if you only say your report verbally, we might not necessarily get everything on paper. So that's the reason why I presented this resolution. And we can vote on this next week. But as of right now, I would like to open the floor for discussion. And does anyone have any comments or questions? Okay, so if not, then we can come back to this next week. Feel free to look over it during the week. And yep, so these are our resolutions for today. The next order of business is items for discussion. And the first item for discussion is the new member orientation. So let's talk about it. New member orientation, that will happen on Wednesday, this Wednesday, from 7 to 9 p.m. And that will be mandatory for all of our new members. If you cannot attend, please send me an email, or if you can only partially attend, let me know. And um, during the new member orientation, we're going to talk about a few things. Some of the things that I have is icebreakers so that we get to know each other. We will talk about meeting overview. So what are the meeting expectations? We'll talk about resolutions, how they work, how voting works, and how to write the resolution. We'll talk about the agenda and what does it mean, how to change it. We will also discuss Robert's rules, how to do it normally versus virtually. And the Roberts rules is basically the rules that preside over every meeting. We'll also talk about RFFs, what they are and how to write them, and other announcements that we have. So that's the stuff that I have for you for the orientation. Does anyone have anything else that they would like to say about it? Any ideas, comments, anything? Okay, so if not, I just look forward to seeing you guys there. It'll be really fun. I already have a plan for how it's going to go. So yeah. So for items for discussion, another thing that I would like to mention is the committee preference form. Since we got our new members voted in, I will be sending the form tonight. So please complete that before our next meeting on Monday before 6 p.m. However, keep in mind that committee preference forms are on a first come, first serve basis. So if you do it, the earlier you do it, the more likely you are to get into the committee of your choice. And yeah, does anyone have any questions or comments about this? Okay, it doesn't look like there are any comments. So please make sure to complete that. It is required of everyone. And I'll be sending out the form later tonight. Are there any other items for discussion that we need to talk about? Okay, so if there are no items for discussion, then we can move on to the next order of business, which is announcements. Are there any announcements?
Yeah, I've got an announcement. So tomorrow there's a presidential candidate debating viewing party. I suggest you guys come and join us. Yeah, that's all.
Happy birthday to Watson.
Any other announcements?
You gonna have a party, Watson?
They are literally singing upstairs right now.
Oh, he.
Oh no, dude, take us there. Let us sing. Take your computer. No?
Take the whole laptop.
Man.
I moved to adjourn.
If he wants this meeting to be over so he could leave.
Okay, understood. The next order of business is adjournment. Would anyone like to motion to adjourn this meeting?
I believe Watson just did, and I will second that.
Okay, all right. There has been a motion and a second. Would anyone or all those in favor please say aye?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so it looks like the ayes have it. So this meeting is now adjourned at 8:12 p.m. Thank you guys. And e-board stay for after for meeting after, but yeah. Thank you everyone. Have a great night and don't forget to fill out the committee preference form and to attend the new member orientation. We'll see you there.
Bye everyone.